Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to continue on here with our React and TypeScript course, and we're going to talk about typing functions. So this is pretty basic stuff to get us going. So we want to start with basics, and let's just get into this. So right now, I've just created another little component here called show name here, and now I've imported that right here into my app.tsx. And we're just going to do a little work within here. So if we go over to our browser right here, we can see we're just showing this name right now. Now that is hard coded, and eventually we will be passing that down via props. But right now it's just hard coded right now. So let's show you a little bit about how TypeScript works. So the good thing about TypeScript and VS Code right here is if we hover over our function definition up here, so we go over show name here, it tells us that this show name function here is a JSX element, and this is the type of this function. Now, eventually, we can get a little more specific if we wanted to, so we could do something like come in here and we could go React element like this, and we could type add that. And if you hover over here, you're going to see that this show name is now a React element right here. So it is implicit with the JSX element. I think that's good enough for us right now, so we can get rid of these two things right here because this will work just fine for our purposes right now. So one thing you want to keep in mind with React and TypeScript is that every single React component that you do is either going to return a React element of some sort, whatever that may be, or it could also return null. But those are your only two options. It has to return either a React element of some sort or null. So you have to keep that in mind. All right, so now let's show you how we're going to start typing some of this out. So we have this show name function here, and right now this is just hard coded as name. But what if we wanted to pass in the name down as props from this app.tsx, which is our parent component? So let's say we came in here and we want to come in and we'd say, we'll just say name like this in curly braces. You can see we get this red underlined squiggly with it crossed out. So we get all this because right now we haven't passed in any props. So let's come up in here, and if we were just doing a regular React component, we could just go like this, destructure here, and we'll just say name like this. And now you see our red squiggly moves to this. So it says the binding element name has an implicit any type. So we have no implicit any selected in our TS config. So we have to actually say what this name prop is going to be. All right, so we got our red squiggly name here. So name is destructured as a prop. Now, if we want to type this, there's a few different ways we can do this. So the first thing we could do is we could come in and do this inline right here. So we do a colon like this and then open up some braces, and we're just going to say name is going to be a string like that. And that gets rid of all our errors like this. So if we hover over the name now, you can see it's a parameter, and it is name of the name here is going to be of type string. So that is one way we can do that. And then if we have this here, we go back over to our app.tsx, you see that now we're getting an error here. And it says property name is missing a type, but required in type name string. So that just shows us that we have to actually pass that in. So we can say name is equal, and we have to pass in some sort of string here. And we'll just say Darwin like this, and that takes care of our error for us, passing that in as props. And we come back here, no errors here. And if we move on over to our browser over here, we can see that now this is getting passed in as props for our name. So that is looking pretty good. So another way you might want to do this is with a type or an interface. And this is what you'll use when things get a little more complex and we don't just have a single prop here that we're passing in. So we can come in here and give ourselves a little bit of room right here. And there's two ways you can do this. So you can either use what's called a type. So that would look like this. You'd say type, and we'll just call it name. Okay, and then you're going to go equals and open up some brackets, and in here we're just going to have a prop called name. That's probably not the best naming convention here, but that is fine for now. And we'll just say, this is where you'll say string like this. So this is one way you can do that. And then instead of doing this here, we can just pass that in right here. We will just say name like this. And again, that takes care of everything else for us. And we can come back and everything should be good here as well. So that looks good. You can check your app.tsx. Everything still works fine like that. So that's one way to type your props. The other thing that you might use is called an interface, and types and interfaces are almost interchangeable, and for our purposes, they basically will be for this kind of beginner stuff. There are some subtle differences. If you're interested in deep diving a little bit into why you might use types or interfaces, there is a good little resource here. It's the React TypeScript cheat sheet docs, and I'll leave a little link in the description. It's very, very helpful. But basically this table is going to tell you a little bit of where and why you should use types versus interfaces right here. So I'll leave a link in there so you can check that out. I tend to use actually interfaces more, so I'll show you that right here. So you say interface like this, and we're gonna just call it again name like that. And again, look at the subtle differences here. So instead of equals, you can just do a regular object like that. Now with this, again, we can just say name here, and that again is just going to be string. So they're very similar in that way. If we go ahead and save this, again, you're just passing this in here as name. And if we hover over this, you can see it takes parameter name, which is going to be a string. Again, over here, no issues there. So that is kind of the very basics of how you're going to start typing out your functions and passing props and doing all that good stuff. We're going to start getting a little deeper into this in the next videos, but thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.